figure out the essentials, dig into that, then figure out the plus, and then it's the design. That's where you have to look at your portfolio and look at how much income that is providing. Is that match 100%? Because if it does, we can go back to the title. Can you live off dividend income? And go, yes, no buts. So can you really live off of dividend income? Like,
we see people every day doing it.
Can you really do it though?
I'm going to say yes, but there's a lot of factors that go into that.
There can't be a but.
There
Yes
can
or
be.
no?
You can live off of just dividend income.
Bam.
There you go.
But you may want to figure out.
However,
All depends on lifestyle when you're wanting to start it. Like, there are some disclaimers with that. But yes,
right.
you can live off just dividend income.
so really what we want to talk about today is not just a yield of a dividend portfolio and understanding, the math behind living off of it. What we want to talk about is really the design of income in retirement. And we're not so much going to dig into, portfolio. If you're really looking for a portfolio design today, it's really not going to happen. But
you can click on that Dividend Starter Kit and it will help you. No, hit
or subscribe. Yeah.
Subscribe, put in the chat Dividend Starter Kit. That will actually answer a lot of the questions that we're not going to go over today, but some of it, and it'll help you design your own dividend portfolio.
Yeah. So here's where the myth really comes into play. And the myth is, I'm just going to live off my dividends. Again, there's the big but, because it's like, unless you have a lot of assets, you have a very large dividend portfolio, the reality is that dividend income going to be enough to satisfy whatever that you want to spend?
Yep.
And that's where you're
it's a very vague term too, right? Because you got to look at what type of dividend income you're generating. Is it consistent? Does it grow? Or is it all over the place? Do they just pay as profit share? And there's just a lot of factors that can go into just.
So let's say you had $1 million in your portfolio and your yield is like 5%. So you're like, well, it's $1 million, 5%, that's $50,000. Can I live off $50,000? You're like, no.
Yeah.
Well, there's more layers to your income.
Right.
Sure.
You have Social Security, which really is the foundation of most. We call that your base income.
Yep.
Some people still have pensions. I'd still say about 1/3 of my clients have a pension to some sort. I've got clients that both the husband and the wife have pensions, which is very rare, but it's still out there. You have there are clients that own rental properties, which we've had shows dedicated to this, flexible withdrawals. So if you're not spending all of your dividend income, you might have an account that's being reinvested. There could be added income on there. So there can be several, and we're not even talking about passive income, which can come from all different types of places. You have a buyout, you have land. I mean, who knows what it is. So you can have income sources, and there's some people that retire and still do something that's not work that they get paid for.
That's right. I was just about to say that.
They love it.
Hobby or that
Hobbies,
side hustle, whatever you want to call it. It just, more and more people are still working into retirement,
I think retirement is being redefined.
Right.
Oh, that's how I even ask it whenever I'm initially building plans. I'm like, when do you plan on slowing down?
Yes.
Because so many people are like, I actually really enjoy doing this. I don't want to do it 5 days a week, but I'll do it 1 or 2.
Yep.
And they can still do it on a part-time basis.
Which I love. Like, if you look at Warren Buffett, he retired, stopped completely in his 90s.
However old he is now. This is the first year he stopped.
I know. At 90 something.
Yeah.
93, 94.
Yep.
And, he absolutely loves his job. He didn't see it as work. Okay. And he did less and less, but he still did it. So this isn't a show about what you can do to make money, but that's a part of income for some people in retirement.
For sure.
People love to travel. Some people love to travel so much in retirement that they become travel agents.
Yep.
Yeah. Or the neighborhood handyman.
Yeah.
That's
right. I've got a client, that's what he does. He just helps out his neighbors. It's a way for him to give back, but then they also kind of pay him for stuff. And he can go be the handyman.
Mm-hmm. So of all these layers, so when we're talking about can you live off of dividend income, we kind of want to start subtracting things out. So if you wanted to live off of, say, $100,000 of income, so what's the first? You have to look at your Social Security. You married? Well, there's 2 of you.
When are you trying to slow down? Because if you're in your 40s, you don't even have that Social Security yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm just talking about somebody who's actually retired.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, or they're planning for retirement. And you're like, okay, when I retire, I'm going to get this much Social Security. My wife's going to get that much Social Security. We have this much. There might be some working income. Some people are like, well, I'll probably work for, because I feel like retirement is like a slowdown. Like we go from full-time work to part-time work to no work.
Yep.
Right.
And what's that first transition? Sometimes I won't even show the plan until they're done, which is getting older and older because they can enjoy, and there's so much work from home these days.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, I can do what I want. I can travel. I can do, I can work 20 hours a week and make $80,000.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's always going to be the
case. They go back and be the consultant.
Yeah.
Like you get people who are retiring and then they're like, I just want to free up my time. And now they're going to hire me back as a consultant.
Yeah. And it's,
so what
it's
a
half
shift
the work.
that is. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go
You're
ahead.
saying what a shift that has been over the past 20, 30 years.
Oh,
if
for
you
sure.
Think about it, like I think of my grandparents, it was like hard out at 50 or 55. It's like, we're done.
Well, and they
doing
worked at
that.
one company the whole time too,
That's right,
Like you got people who
and then the parent
5, 6, 7 different jobs.
Yeah. And I just think like my dad was one of those, oh yeah, I'm going to retire at 65. No, I'm going to go into consulting. Like it just seems that natural transition of no. I'm too eager to help people and I just can't sit around doing nothing.
Yeah.
Or you get the client that's like, oh, I hate my job. And they're like, I'm done. I'm never going back to work. Okay. Heard that before.
Right.
And I'm like, but sometimes people do. And then they retire. And then 6 months goes by, a year, we get them back in. And they're like, yeah, I've been working. Why? And it's not that they wanted to go back to work. It's they lost their community.
Yeah.
And all of their friends still work.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like either I got to go find a new community and I didn't like what I saw there because they were way too old or whatever it was.
Yep.
And I just got bored because all my friends are still working and I wanted my community back. So they just go and get a job.
Yeah.
And
Kinda
it's
lost
not their
identity.
Yeah.
Really,
I mean, there's definitely an aspect of that. And that's not necessarily what we're talking about today in this show. This is reality for a lot of clients where it's like, I want to be retired, but you don't want to retire by yourself. You want to try.
That would be miserable. Unless you're an introvert. I'm way too much of an extrovert.
Yeah, me
retiring
too.
by myself.
And actually most of our clients, and there are those rare that are just like, yeah, I'm comfortable just doing me, and going to the dog park with my favorite, animal or whatever.
Yeah, hanging out in the garden.
Yeah.
I think we've had a few of those that,
And that I feel like that's seasonal too.
For sure.
Where clients is like, I can't do this. And then you have the flip side where those clients are retired and they're not sure they can afford to retire. And it's like, I just want to retire. And all their friends are retired. And it's like, man, this is the greatest thing. How are we doing?
Yep.
Like, is this, are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going back to work because
I've had
my
a blast.
entire circle.
I had too much of a blast.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about those conversations today. Okay.
That's it.
So I guess what this really comes down to is really defining and designing your income.
Yep.
So there's that essential income. What are your bare needs? You still have a mortgage. What are your real expenses? These are the true essentials. So these are things that you can't avoid. Like if you had some credit card debt, what are those payments?
Yep.
If you have a car, a mortgage, all the
just the
bills, little things.
Yeah, like the water, the electricity, heat and air, like those are just going to happen no matter what.
Correct. What is
Taxes,
that?
Unfortunately.
And then after you get beyond that, then it's the plus.
The plus, your favorite.
And the plus can be all over the place.
Yeah.
Depending on who you're talking to. Like I know a lot of people that their essentials are like 50 grand and they live on 200.
Yeah.
So the plus is significant. And then you have people that their intangibles are 85,000 and they live on 95.
Yep.
I mean, everybody's
all
different.
over the place.
It's very all over the place. So the first thing you have to do is really, and if Nikki was here right now, I wish she was, she would be all over this and her spreadsheet.
Oh man.
There'd be
budget.
Nikki-isms. I don't even know what they are.
Yeah.
The big first question or what was that? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But the realities are figure out the essentials, dig into that, then figure out the plus, and then it's the design. How much of Social Security does Social Security or whatever those layers are, Social Security rentals, whatever those other ones are, how much of your essentials do those cover? And then how much dividend income are you going to need after that? And look, that's where you have to look at your portfolio and look at how much income that is providing. Is that match 100%? Because if it does, we can go back to the title. Can you live off dividend income? And go, yes, no buts.
That's right.
However,
Right.
if it doesn't, then this is where you have to come in and make some hard decisions. And you have to take a dividend income and withdrawal approach, which is not our first go-to.
No. Or it's, hey, maybe you work one more year, or you work a little bit of a side job because you wanted to anyway. You know, things like that. You kind of, it starts becoming this puzzle that you're putting together and designing together. And that's where the, you know, the uniqueness of your situation kind of comes
So
out.
why, because we push the environment where our clients live 100% off their dividend and all other forms of income. So we don't really enjoy a conversation where a client wants to live above that.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because you know, in order to live on more than that, you're gonna have to sell something.
Which then creates what? Like
Pressure.
Yeah. Anxiety.
Pressure to grow and anxiety. And now you're really worried about the volatility of the market because you're like, I just took out, you know, just say it's 10%. Well, now I got to go and grow that back to recoup it so I can do it again next year. And I probably actually have to grow it more than that because I've reduced the amount of dividend I'm going to have.
And then our rebalancing strategy is really, really important on making sure that we're buying low, selling high, and we're taking the sales of high to buy more shares. And sometimes that doesn't work that way.
No.
Sometimes rebalancing will actually negatively affect a portfolio because you're selling shares that have a higher yield to buy shares at a lower price with a lower yield, and it might not necessarily work. Not all the time. Most of the time it does.
Yeah.
But sometimes it actually is an inverse thing where your income goes down and rebalance. We try to avoid that, but sometimes it's unavoidable.
Yeah, it is a thing that can happen.
It's a reality.
Yep.
So when you're in rebalancing for the long haul is a very effective, like statistics, almost 100% of the time, it's very effective.
Yep.
So it's a need. And in this situation where clients are selling, they're cutting off some branches, you have to have an effective rebalancing to try to catch back up.
Yes. And that's a tough game.
Because it's a snowball. What happens if you're living off your dividend income, you have to spend more, so you're selling some shares. Now you have less income the next year, and yet they're the same demand. Actually, your demand for withdrawal just grew because you have less income, assuming that they're spending 100% of their income. There are those other situations where you're spending less than 100% and you have flexibility of that other pot of money. That's fine to a degree, depending on how much you spend, because everything has when you start selling principal, there's a limited shelf life.
Yep.
Because at some point you can crush it and you're never going to get back ahead unless you stop completely.
Correct.
And there's not a whole lot of people out there that's like, yeah, I'm just going to live this lifestyle for this many years and then I'm going to be done.
Yeah.
That's right. It's like timing the market, right?
Yeah.
Like usually doesn't work out too well.
The lifestyle creep is a real thing. Like once you start creeping your lifestyle, it's really hard to digress.
Yeah. Well, and just the nature of how our economy works, there's creep built in. It's called inflation.
Yep.
So even without you trying, sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah.
Just because you're trying to buy the essentials.
So we look at the lifestyle, the essentials, then we look at the plus, then we design it. And really, I would say our anxiety as a financial advisor and income planner is directly tied to the answer of that puzzle.
Oh yeah.
If 100% of the income can be completely connected and there's a surplus, we're doing good. Like you did good.
You did great.
Yep.
You're living below your means.
Yep.
You're going to be set up for a really great retirement.
And that confidence is transferable. The clients feel it. Like it's
because they can see it.
Yeah.
When we put it up there and it's like, hey, I want to live on 100 and you're when we put everything in, I'm producing 110, 115,000. Wow, I got $15,000 worth of buffer every year. This is awesome.
Or 35 or 50.
I mean, yeah, you can see all kinds. But whenever we're like,
red.
I think you got 20 cents the first year.
Or it's red.
And it grew to $1 the second year. Yeah, or it's red. It's like, oh boy, all right. So what are we going to, how can we help you make
And now we're
smart
dependent
decisions?
on growth rates. We're dependent on all kinds of stuff. And then our anxiety doesn't necessarily shoot straight up because it depends on what that number is. But there's a little bit of anxiety. The client can see it.
What's the runway?
We feel it.
Yep.
then you start getting those questions like, well, should we live on less? And that's that's real life.
Yep.
So there are some people that are a little bit more, able to live in those environments than others. We tend to be very cautious and concerned. So, but the reality is it's clients' money.
Yeah. It's yours. It's your decision.
We're never going to say no. Yeah. It's our job to show the honest truth.
Yep. Be truth tellers.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always like, hey, the sooner you can at least get a simplicity plan and look and see where you're at, where you're kind of trending, then the better you're going to be, because you can make those adjustments when you're 5 years out.
Yeah.
If this is what you want to live on, we can show you to the penny what you need to save between now and then to get to where you want to go. But if you come to us and you're like, hey, I retired last month, my friend said I need to come see you, it becomes a little bit more difficult to maneuver. Correct. If there is a shortfall there. So
last thoughts?
That's mine. Get a plan, whether it's with us or somebody else. Just go and get a plan. Make sure you can see how you're, trending, what it looks like for you at retirement.
Yep.
Yeah, I would just reinstill that. Too many times you see it where the plan comes too late into the game. So jump on and talk to somebody and get some help there, get some guidance.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to be a broken record. Thanks for
Put
watching.
it in the chat.
Yeah. Subscribe to the show. Ask for the kit. And have a great day.